Estate Cigar Studio in Boston, Massachusetts. Welcome to the Spare Notes series with your hosts, Matt Tabacco and William Cooper.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Spare Note series. My name is Matt Tabacco from SmokinTobacco.com, and I am once again in the Drew Estate Cigar Studios here in beautiful Boston, Massachusetts. I am joined by Mitchell Santaga in beautiful British Columbia in the Gurkha Cigar Studios, also of SmokinTobacco.com, and from Cigar-Coop.com. Once again, it's our very good friend, Mr. William Cooper from Indian Trail, North Carolina. Gentlemen, how are we?
Greetings.
Greetings.
Hello. Doing good. Doing good.
We have a Canadian, a somewhat Southerner, and the best hockey team in the league. Out there.
Well, you know, when they win last night, they're the best hockey team. When they lost the other night, I didn't hear a word about it, you know?
Oh,
exactly.
Well, listen, I'm going to tell you the same thing that I told the other three people who brought it up to me, and that is, you know, we lose one game and everyone cries, but everyone forgets that before they lost that one game, we had won, 12 games in a row, I think? So
that is either a very good thing or a very bad thing, way the Stanley Cup works. You know that. Sometimes
it was also the second game of the first round of the playoffs, and people were like, here it comes. It's like it's the second fucking game, and they lost.
Okay, here's what I'll say. I'll be fair. For anyone who thinks that the Florida Panthers have a chance in this series, they need the Carolina Panthers have just as much chance of winning this series. No, Boston's going to get through this series. I love. There's a bunch of hockey guys out of the Miami area, and I'm like, look, good you made the playoffs this year. But look, this Bruins team is good. I mean, you guys are not winning this series unless something strange happens.
Yeah, I mean, we're 2-1 right now. We don't have Patrice Bergeron because of an injury.
Right.
By the time he gets back, provided there's no other major injury, it's only better for us. But I mean, I'm not worried. 2-1 the first round against the Florida Panthers. Okay, if it was the conference finals,
to the Panthers, yeah.
If it was the conference finals and it was Carolina, and it was 2-1 Carolina, I'd be like,
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
But the Florida Panthers in the first round? Come on. No one in Boston is worried about that series.
I said they're the favorites. They're the favorites.
You know what I can say though? And I'm sorry, Mitchell, but I have to stick a knife in you. I'm gonna do it to your face. I'm not gonna do it in your back. I'm gonna stick it right in you. I don't think that cup's going up to Canada yet again. So I think that's
it looks tough.
Dude, I was just gonna say the Canadian teams are just awful, and
you guys
the
ain't
Canucks
bringing
are
it. You guys ain't bringing it home.
I watched.
It's just sad to watch.
Toronto gets Tampa Bay every year, right? Edmonton just finds ways to make average players look great. And the goaltender that LA had, I think they got him late in the season, right? He was unbelievable last night. I mean, it was like you looked at this, he was like, you think Dominic Hasek was playing again for the Kings? No, it was the guy who's standing on his head. Edmonton finds ways to blow these. I hate to say it, I don't think it's coming back to Canada this year.
No, it's definitely not. Unless they just all of a sudden, game 4, 5, turn it around out of nowhere. But yeah, all the Canadian teams are awful. The Canucks, obviously, I'm from Vancouver. They're awful. Oilers looks good before, but
Calgary let some of the good players go. Winnipeg blew it today. Winnipeg's the other one. They blew it today. They blew it against Vegas. So they lost.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Again,
I know. Our good friend Kevin Acuff is pretty excited about that one. He was watching the Vegas game today. Also, shout out to him really quick. Sorry guys, on a speedy recovery. He had a little bit of minor surgery this week, and I know it's been a rough
I
week.
didn't know. I hope he's okay. Yeah.
Nothing major. He'll be fine.
Okay.
Just wanted to send a little, a little bit better.
Absolutely.
He's just a little sore. That's all. I just want to extend
Absolutely.
a little love for our man Kevin.
Sure thing. Absolutely.
Yeah. Feel better.
Other than that, it's another week. It's another Spare Note show. I see our regulars are pretty much almost all here, minus Jay Davis and maybe one or two others. But I'm sure they'll find their way around. It's Saturday night. I'm excited. We have a good show. I went up to the Cigar Authority today. Spent some time there. Got to see Skip Martin and Mike Rosales from Roma Craft Tobacco. Smoked a bunch of Roma Craft cigars, including a Wonderlust, the new Intemperance Volstad VO pre-release that was pre-released at Two Guys Smoke Shops this week, which is going to be released later, the full release version. So, from what I remember, Skip had used for the pre-release batch blend, he used an Ecuador Sumatra wrapper, and then he found a different wrapper, and he decided to change it, and that's the wrapper that's going to be on the full release later on. So they're going to be slightly different.
Why would I want the pre-release then? Is my question. Is there something like? Is it because if I can't get it? I mean, it's really not the cigar. Then is what you're saying. It's not going to be the cigar that's being released.
It sounds like it's only going to be slightly different, but from what I understand, there is a different wrapper on the full release versus the
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. I'll have to check Skip's Instagram account on that. Yeah, I was unaware. I knew something was going on with I didn't realize it was going to be changing the wrapper on that.
That's a pretty big change.
That's a very big change. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not really a pre-release. It's not really a pre-release.
It's
That's what I'm saying.
We're changing the blend. It's now a different
We're changing
cigar.
the blend. Yeah.
Well, from what I understand, it's same variety. It's just he just found a different supplier or something.
Okay,
I don't remember all the details.
okay.
I wasn't fully paying attention at that point.
But it's still interesting. I mean, it still is interesting. I mean, if you're a cigar geek, I guess you want to compare and contrast that, which is something interesting. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I bet he probably did find better tobacco on it. We have seen some companies do that before. Yeah, I mean, we've seen companies do that before. So
and I do have a bundle. I do have a bundle of those pre-release cigars too. So if you guys want to try them and you can't get a hold of them, then let me know.
Okay, no, great.
But it was good. I mean, the pre-release one, I smoked one today, and it was pretty good. I liked it. I enjoyed it. They think they need to sit for a little bit, but other than that, they were out of the cellophane. They were good.
Did Barry give it 100?
I don't think he did. I don't think he did.
Okay.
Now that'll be his first 103.
I will. But I will say, outside of that, I will say a little bit of fun at Barry's expense. He's fine, but I had gifted Barry a bottle of bourbon today, and after the show, he decided to open it and drink it or whatever. So he opened it, and him and Skip were drinking it, and like a minute and a half later, all of a sudden, Barry looks down, and his hand's all bloody, and he's like, what happened here? And I'm like, I'm like, you all right? And I go to run for paper towels. He's like, no, I'll go get it. And I go, what happened? What'd you do? And he's like, I think I cut my hand open, like taking the plastic off the bottle. And I'm like, how the fuck do you do that?
Jeez.
So I was like, oh, man, that sounds like a rookie move. But no, he...
As long as okay. I mean, we shouldn't laugh at that.
I know. I just like giving Barry a little bit of a hard time.
We shouldn't laugh at that, yeah.
I love giving Barry a little bit of a hard time because, he likes to throw it out a little bit.
He's just got sensitive hands,
He does. He's got those soft, sensitive, womanly hands.
Exactly.
Barry Stein.
How would you know? How would you know he has soft, womanly hands? It's like,
because you don't want to know why? Because I watched him cut them open, taking the plastic off of a liquor bottle.
Okay.
That's how I know.
I mean, I've shaken Barry's hand. I don't think it was ever soft and cuddly. I mean,
Who said the word cuddly? No one ever said.
Okay.
Yeah, no one said cuddly. Come on.
You implied it.
Implied is not saying. Just for the record. Maybe in a court of law, but not here in the Spare Note Show.
Okay.
What are you guys smoking tonight? Because I'm smoking through a bunch of different samples, and I'll go last. But Mitchell, let's start with you.
Well, let's play a game. It was Coop's. Well, technically, it was supposed to be Coop's last review, but he posted a review today, so it wasn't Coop's last review, but it was his one before that. And we'll see if anyone in the comments can can guess what cigar that was.
I'm
I
impressed.
don't, do you,
I'm impressed with you smoking this. Then
it, do you,
This
I
is
don't
Wait,
even know if
hold
anyone
on. Wait,
knows.
wait. Time out.
Don't use the-
Time out. One more time, Mitchell. Can you just not the one he posted today, but the one
Yeah.
before? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Because I know which one you posted. You posted Adventura today, right?
Aventura today. Yeah.
That's
Okay.
correct.
Got
Yeah,
nice-
that was today's.
Which Aventura was supposed to post yesterday, but the
Oh,
proofreader
I
got a
remember.
a little tired.
Yeah, that's anyone in the comments? I don't think anyone in the
I'll
comments.
wait for the audience.
Yeah,
but I
what's-
think I
what's-
remember.
We'll give you some time. Don't use Google. Let's see if you can.
Yeah, no cheating. Don't be like that. Don't be.
If you were sequencing it right, I'm completely shocked you're smoking this cigar.
If it's the one I'm thinking of, I had this on my list a few years ago. Or 2 years
What are you
ago?
smoking, Coop?
Oh, I'm going old school. I'm going with an Oliva Serie V Toro.
Oh, classic.
I just pulled out a classic, By the way, at Cigar Coop,
It's got some age on it?
Oliva. We will cover the Oliva booths this year at the Cigar Coop Coalition. Yeah, it's got some age on it. I think this is actually. I think I got these, but it's not super age. I'd say I got these maybe almost 2 years ago. So
Nice.
I bought a box of these.
Oh, that's
Yep.
pretty good then.
Very nice.
Yep.
Very nice. A little bit of
Yep.
rest there.
Yep.
I am. I am smoking a Punch spring roll.
Here, I'll tease the footband.
Oh, I'm right. Okay, I definitely know that.
I am shocked. I am shocked you're smoking that.
I'm shocked Coop's just reviewing it now.
I'm gonna be honest. Here's what happened with it.
That's been out.
Reviewed, the review was almost done. I wasn't happy with the review. And sometimes that does happen. So I shelved the review. I rebought the cigars, and went through it again. Actually, that's what happened with that. That's why that took a while. But sometimes I just wasn't happy with the notes I had taken. Nothing wrong with the cigar.
Yeah.
But I just felt I couldn't. But so I went through and did finish that up this week.
All right,
Actually,
so Kevin O'Connor, I think he didn't give the name of the cigar, but he's got the brand down, and he's got HVC,
Yep. HVC hotcakes.
the Gran Cañon.
Grand Canyon.
nice size. It's a nice size.
Yeah, I like that size a lot.
He did good with the 60 with that. I really think he did. That's why I was surprised that Mitchell went for the 60 there. But
That was in my top 10
You know-
years ago.
I should say I've seen Mitchell smoke 60s a few times now because he smokes a huge with All Saints.
Yep.
So I shouldn't be surprised. I really shouldn't be surprised.
That huge
Nothing
is one
wrong
of
with
his
a
favorite
60.
cigars.
Yep.
Yeah. And it's funny because 60 ring gauges in the last couple of years, they've kind of faded away a little bit. They're not as popular.
I think the 70s have faded more than the 60s.
I would
I
agree
still
with
see
that.
a lot of I still see a lot of companies releasing this. You probably got with those punches. You probably got those Lagoria 70s. And I saw a couple media guys say, "Well, I don't want to smoke." I am really excited to smoke that Lagoria in the 70s.
Me too.
Because let me tell you, I smoked the Lagoria Serie R Maduro. Is a cigar I've smoked for a long time. And I've always enjoyed it. It was one of my. If I had a rotation cigar about 12 years ago, that was in it. So I'm really interested to see how this is going to perform in the 70s. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, we did get those along with these, and a bunch of those I actually just packaged up. They're on their way to Las Vegas for review. So I kept one for myself. I sent the rest off, so I will have the one. Actually, I think I have it with me. Let me see. I might smoke that after this because this is almost done. But yeah, a lot of releases, and I did catch the first hour of. You talking about the Corojo de Oro? Is that the one?
So no, that's not the one. It was the Corona Oro was in that package though.
Okay. Oh, you're talking
Which-
about
which-
the San Andreas
yeah.
one?
No, the La Gloria. Did you get the La Gloria Cubana? 7x70.
Oh no.
Okay, so you probably the forged and general stuff went out separate.
Yeah, I get multiple packages. Yeah. So I probably
Yeah,
just
so
didn't
you
get that
probably
one
didn't
yet.
get that one. Yeah. So the Corojo de Oro, there was a hard copy press release in there that we never got electronically.
Okay.
So actually, I looked. I'm like, Corolla Oro. I've never seen this cigar before, and I Google, and it's in a few stores already. I'm like, and they never sent. I looked, never sent it. So I just took the hard copy press release and I put it on Coop, and I just reported it on KMA. I was going to do that because I figured we didn't have a KMA release of the week, and I'd kind of end it. And then yesterday, the KMA STG release of the week comes out with the Punch Dad Bod.
Mm. Yeah, I was.
Hey,
just
what's
gonna,
the eye roll?
I was just gonna say, I did catch the beginning of KMA this morning, and it was funny. I love how you said it came down to the wire. We almost.
It
didn't
really
have
did. It really did. It was
Yeah.
like because that thing came in around lunchtime on
Yeah.
Friday.
Yeah, I remember getting it, and I was like, oh, this
We
another
have it,
week
yeah,
STG.
STG release of them. And I had Justin on Thursday night, and we toyed with him about it, and he gave his wow, we have a lot of stuff. It was he did a good job. No, so
That was a great
I
interview.
said to myself, thank you. We rattled him a bit, I think, but it was good.
Tyler Jeffrey is here watching with us. Tyler, shout out! I saw one of your favorite people today, Skip Martin from Romacraft Tobacco. Thanks for watching the show, Tyler. Yeah, no, it is funny. Last year I think was the all-time. But Coop, you've been doing this a long time, so correct me if I'm wrong. But I mean, last year STG's releases. I mean,
59.
wow,
We counted.
was that the most from in your memory?
Yeah, because I remember there was one trade show they had about 30, and that's when they were unveiling all this Foundry stuff.
Yeah.
But this seemed like more.
Damn. And then they had all the flavor stuff, which I haven't really seen.
And they're not bad cigars, is what I'll tell you. Those flavor. I think if anything, and I was very honest with Justin. I think they misfired on a lot of things last year. But the flavor ones I thought were good value. The packaging, the names are a little hokey, but there's a reason for that. But the packaging was very retro vibe and stuff, and it was cool. And the cigars aren't that expensive, and they're not bad for flavored cigars. What I want to tell people.
Oh yeah, no, I wasn't knocking it. I've been wanting the opportunity to get them, but they just kind of elude my visual space.
Yacht Rock's the one to get, man. The Yacht Rock one is pretty cool.
The
That
Yacht
Rock
Rock.
one was a surprise. Yacht Rock, it's got this cola taste to it. It was very for a flavored cigar. I never had anything like that one.
That's interesting. Cola flavored.
Yeah, but it had a cola flavor to it. Yeah,
Was it still
Sounds pretty
sweet,
good.
or was it?
it was sweet. Yeah, it was a little, like I said, it's sweet. It does it's sweetened. It lacks complexity, but
Yeah.
you know why they gave the name Yacht Rock is they wanted to be careful about putting flavored names on the packaging. That was the because they didn't with the whole FDA stuff. So the idea is why they called it flavor FLVR is they took the A out of it. So they came up with these wacky names, instead of calling it the Coca, not Coca, instead of calling it cola a cola cigar, they called it Yacht Rock.
Huh.
I kind of like it, and it goes with the theme of the marketing of
Yeah.
those 80s kind of colors and the funky vibe there. Overall, I thought it was one of the better recent flavored cigar releases in terms of marketing. I've never tried one as well, so I don't know in terms of flavor, but
I totally agree, and I think that Ford's needed some flavored cigars. General's got the CAO and the Macanudo M's on that side. Ford's needed something. I just haven't seen those take off, and I'm completely surprised because they're not bad. The price point, you can't beat it. So
Yeah.
I really think the problem they had last year was General and Ford's putting 59 releases out there. The salespeople only have so much bandwidth to go into every store, and stuff is just going to get lost.
and-
And that's why I think it was too much they had.
and not even that. The consumer can only consume so much, and the consumer can only take so many releases until something gets lost in the jumble. So
Yeah.
Is it too much? Debatably, yes, but hey, I'm sure they know what they're doing.
I go and look at like Altadis, right? They're a little more strategic. Like they tend to go to have a release every quarter. That they sometimes they'll put a second one out there. Like so, right now they're dealing with the H. Upman Barbiers, and now I think they're going to be coming into the new Monte Cristo 1935 Diamantes. And I think that sales teams can focus campaigns and focus, programs for the retailers. And obviously the consumers aren't trying, 6 cigars that are coming out in a month. They come out with 1 or 2 a quarter, and it's a lot more manageable for that. So I don't quite understand. I hope that they actually slow this down a bit. I hope they don't slow it down because it keeps the KMA segment going. But I hope they do because I think it. I said to Justin last Thursday night. In fairness, it sometimes takes 2 or 3 years for a brand to build. It really does, right? So
Yeah.
maybe one of these things you came out with, maybe flavor does take off in 2 or 3 years, but it's tough when it was coming out of the gate like that. So we'll see.
I think you're right. And like with Altadas doing those with those release kind of cycles, they give the cigar like time to breathe and time to gain some traction. And I find they definitely have a little bit more of that like online media impact. Like a Altadas review, you'll see people posting about it, trying it, smoking it, and having like a bit of interest outside of even just media. So
yeah, I think it's like I said, I think it's a good approach they did. I wasn't at TPE, Matt, you were there, but I think they were focusing on the Barbier there. For sure, was probably the barber pole. That was probably their big focus there, and now they're moving to this new Monte Cristo, which I've smoked, by the way. So they're going for a premium price point with that one. But it is a good cigar.
Sorry, guys, I was just getting caught up on the comments, and not so much just on the show, but Aaron Loomis had commented on a thread, and it just made me laugh. I'm sorry, I got all distracted. So first of all, shout out to Jay Davis, who is finally here. Jay saw the article post for SmokingTobacco.com for the last Spare Notes episode last week, and he thought that the show was on, and so he sat around and waited for 90 minutes waiting for us to go live, only to realize we weren't going live. And so he kind of created a thread earlier, and Aaron Loomis said, which I thought was really funny, Jay Davis, you should start a show called Spare Time if you waited 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm the only one that thinks that's funny, but I thought it was.
That's pretty funny. I like the comment.
Yeah. Jay's had a long week.
I just felt bad. I'm like, Jay, it's every other Saturday. You should know this. Like, come on. But he misread the article post, and that's okay.
Yeah. I know the Developing Palates team is going to be on Bear's show tomorrow night.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun show.
And I have an 8 o'clock meeting on Monday. I found out that I have to be in, right? So I probably am not going to make it through that whole show. I can tell you.
Better get the coffee ready.
Oh,
I told those guys. I hope you guys took the next day off from work.
Jay has nothing. Mike says Jay has nothing else to do anyway. Oh man, shots fired. Dan Thompson, I waited too. Jay Davis. Dan, come on, man. Jay Davis, Aaron Loomis, good point. Go buy a box of cigars for once and stick one of those in your mouth. Damn. Oh, wow. Damn. Oh, man. A little trouble got started here. Maybe I was spending too much time with Skip today.
We'll use code Blue Smoke of Dallas 0 to get 0% off at Blue Smoke of Dallas from the Developing Palates team.
That's right. That's right.
Minus 10%.
Yeah, minus 10% every time you bring up Developing Palates to the Blue Smoke of Dallas team.
That's right. That's right.
Charge you extra.
Tyler, no, but we are working on getting something going, so hopefully soon. We're going to get them going. Garrett Robinson's here. Shout out to Garrett Robinson. Thank you for everyone for being here tonight. Really excited that everyone's here hanging out with us while we do our show. Listening to us banter and bullshit as always.
We had a great visit with those guys I had last week, by the way.
Yeah, it looked like you guys had fun.
Garrett and Matt.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, I really have fallen in love with that area, the Minneapolis-St. Paul. I say this everywhere I go sometimes, but I really enjoy going up there. And to go to Minneapolis in April with 90-degree weather, I mean, it's very unique.
Yeah, you were very lucky.
Yeah.
Garrett, I am smoking sorry, guys. Garrett misread everyone. I'm smoking the Punch Spring Roll. Mitchell's smoking the Hot Cake Grand Canyon.
It's so good. It is really good.
And Coop's smoking the Oliva. What are you smoking over there? Oliva?
Series 8. Series 8. Basic, old school. I went to that.
Mm.
No, that's good. That's good on that.
Sorry, guys. I was just trying to make sure the audience was fully engaged. Can't leave them out. You know, that's why we're here. We're here for them. Anyway, so Coop, there's something that came up this week with you.
Mhm.
That was kind of, I know, your beef of the week because you made a big Facebook post about it, and I'm just gonna bring it up because we're here. I'm gonna let you get it out of your system because I know this is what you like to do. And as another media person, and you know Mitchell's up here, and he's a little bit newer to this side of the game, but he'll understand the pain soon enough. Press releases from manufacturers. I know that's been a bone to pick with you this week. So let's just get it out. Think of this like your therapy session. We already know, but sometimes it feels better to vent. So let's just hear you go.
All right. All right. This is what you call pulling on a rope, okay, with the cigar industry, because about 75% of the cigar industry is completely clueless on how to engage with media. Okay, so I've been fighting this thing for 10 years about press releases, right? And a lot of it seemed a lot more focused on writing the press release, right? And so, you know, and you have to come to a conclusion. You got to come to a conclusion that most companies are lazy and they don't want to write them, right? You come to that conclusion, right? But when you get when I see a series of things come out, blah, blah, blah in a press release, 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 four different companies, and I don't have the press release, there's a problem, okay? There is a real problem. Like, so it turns out, man, I don't want to mention the company in this case, but you sent me one, and they did have a press release, right? I could, but it was not sent to me. I'm a media guy. I do this day in and day out, okay? How do I not have this? You're spending time to write a press release, right? And it somehow isn't getting to the press. It is the issue. And all you have to do is read Half Wheel, and you can figure out the companies that said in a press release that I don't have covered there, okay? And I'm going to say some of these companies I have relationships with, so I don't quite understand, and they're not mad at me or anything, right? So, but they're not maintaining this. Now, I got pissed off on that thread. All right, and I really like this guy. I like Boston Jimmy a lot. He's like suggesting I should create a list of emails that all these companies should send press releases to. Here's the answer: no. Right? I'm not going to do the company's job that they can do themselves. Okay? And on top of that, if I create a list and leave someone off, I'm the bad guy, right? No. You know who the players are, right? It's easy. This is easy to do. And if you're not seeing your stuff being covered by a media brand, then maybe you should go and fix it rather than, you know, but no, I'm not going to create a list for these companies, right? But why are you spending resources? Like, don't bother doing the press releases. And here's the thing. It's not just me not getting them. There's a lot of media guys not getting these press releases. So clearly there's a problem with what we call distribution of the press releases. The creation of them is one problem, but the company are doing it now. Can you guys figure out how to get these press releases to the guys who are actually going to use them?
Let me ask you a question, Coop.
That's my beef for the week.
So I know that was a big deal for you, and
yeah,
I've dealt with it.
It
too.
happened multiple times. It didn't happen one time. Yeah.
Well, if it's the company that I think you're talking about, they had multiple stories this week, so yes.
Well, okay, but that's one. But here's the thing: I was able to confirm that one really easy. Okay.
Yeah.
It was the that's just a little bit of a. I think the other companies, I don't understand the reasoning here.
So I wanted to ask you. I wanted to say. So I know you made that post, and you were very open and public about it on social media, and everybody saw it. And it was funny because after you did that, I think it was like a day or so later, we all got an email from a manufacturer who never sends out press releases that, oh, hey, we're building a media distribution list. And I'm like, is that a coincidence, or is that because someone saw your beef of the week and they were like, we should really fix this? And you know who I'm talking about.
Well, I know I'm talking about. They don't do. Maybe but they weren't engaged in doing the press releases to begin with. So that's the one. But maybe they're not going to use it for press releases. Maybe they're going to use it for communication. I think that's a very good thing that a company's taking the time.
I thought it was great. I just didn't know if that was like in
don't-
response to what you did, or if it just happened to be a coincidence.
I don't think so. I mean, I'm not going to say. I don't think so. I would like to think that they were probably planning on getting their stuff together with that, and it was coincidence. That's what I'm going to say. But I think you and I just said score. Like, this is great news. Like, when you see that and you're taking the time to do that, I responded immediately, and I asked my guys to respond immediately. I said, get on this now. So we're on that, because we have these problems. Now, I can tell you that some of these other companies this week, I have given them my information for a press release, and I don't have, and it's not getting to me, and it's not going to spam, and no one else is getting those press releases either. So who are these press releases going to? Is my question.
I will say this.
In press releases, where are they going to? Yeah.
I will say this. In terms of SmokingTobacco.com, we get almost just about. We get a large majority. I'm not going to say 100%. And I'm going to call somebody out here in a second, because it's my fucking show and I can. Because that's just how I roll. But there are a few companies we don't have communication with. There are also some of those companies we don't have the best relationship with. Not because we have a bad relationship. We just, we haven't really intertwined with them enough yet. And, we look at those things, and they're on our list of, companies that we need to, have more engagement with, this year and stuff like that. And that's fine. And we'll
it takes a while to build that up sometimes, too.
It
takes
does.
a while to build that
but
up
for the sake of the argument, we have a pretty robust network of communication with the manufacturers, I will say. However, in some instances, there are manufacturers we've put in a lot of effort with, and I've been in situations where their stories have gone out, and I'm talking like 5-6 times now, and we never get the press release. And I go to the owner of the company, who I know, and it's the same story every time. Oh, I don't know. Give me your email again. And it's like, Omar DeFrias, I've given you my email 7 fucking times. How hard is it to get us on the press release list? So guess what? I ain't covering Fratello anymore, because, it's whatever. I mean, you don't want it, fine. Then fuck you. I'm not going to waste my time. So, yeah, I mean, that's just kind of how it goes. And, I'm not going to make a big deal out of it. It's just like, all right, if you can't, you can't do something simple, and we've already, once or twice, okay, I understand people are busy, but like, we've been doing this for over a year now. It's the same song and dance every single time you make an announcement. So, you know what? I'm not helping you anymore, and I'm not chasing you down. And someday when you circle back, maybe you hear this show and you take offense to it. I really don't care. But maybe someday you go, oh, why don't you cover our stories? I'm going to say, hey, you remember like the half a dozen times that we ran into this, and I gave you my email like half a dozen times, and you still never sent us shit? So we don't report on it now. And that's just kind of how it goes. That's just my piece. And that's really the only one that's been frustrating. So that's why I called them out, because I just don't care anymore. But for the most part, manufacturers, it's like, hey, you kind of reach out again, and they're like, hey, I don't know why you weren't on the list, but let me get you on the list. And then, boom, it's all set. I know there's a few who just don't do anything, like Coop's kind of talking about, and that's a little difficult. And some of them...
yeah, you're not going to change their ways in that, so you have to work with that and prioritize it, right? I get that. I totally get that, right? And I have to resolve that. No, you don't have to always spoon feed me a press release, right? But we have to prioritize that stuff after that. Now, if you're the companies that are sending press releases out and it's not going to the media, I have to make some decisions when it comes to PCA, right? Because this PCA show, we think we can only cover about 60 booths, right? So there's going to be companies that are not going to make the chopping block, right? And what do I do in this case, right? Now, there's some companies that, like Padron, I'll never get a press release from them. But guess what? I got to cover Padron. I mean, there's no way. I just have that. They've been dealing with that. They're doing for 35 years, so that ain't gonna change, okay? But there's other companies like where we've tried to build relationships with. We thought we had relationships, and then we're constantly chasing this stuff down. And it's like this is where you say it's pulling on rope. I have to make a decision here. There was one company, Matt, that I was literally ready to cut off, right?
Yeah, I know. And
then there was some change. Then there was some big changes made. And it changed the game, right? But I was literally there was one comment I just said, this is ridiculous. We can't. It's not worth the effort anymore. It's like we're just getting.
Yeah.
And now they've made some changes and I think it's going to be for the better. So I mean, like I said, if you're putting time to write a press release for the press, I think the effort to go send it to the and you look, I'm not trying to be. This is going to sound very snobbish. People know what I do. Okay, I've been doing this 13 years. If you're not seeing it come on Coop, right? Maybe you can contact me or figure out, look at your list again, right? I can't keep chasing you down. I just can't do it anymore, right? I won't do it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what else. I mean, it sounds. I know it sounds ridiculous. Now look, just because you send me a press release, by the way, it doesn't mean you're going to get it on Coop. There are guidelines I have to work with, right? Basically, if you're announcing a product, you're going to get it on there, right?
Right.
You got to give it to me, and you got to give it to me on a timely basis, right? And then look, if it's store exclusive, you don't give it to me the same day, you ain't gonna see it on Coop. I'll tell you that right now. Don't even come to me with it. Like if it's not the same day you announce it, and if it's not gonna be on the shelf if you're gonna tell me it's already on the shelf, I'm not interested in it. So, because I'm not interested in giving you a free ad.
Guys, and I just want to clarify. So for everyone now who's like getting on my case just for saying something about Fratello like not being friendly with at least some of the media, like this isn't me just trying to like start a fight with Omar. I mean, it's just me saying like, hey, like it's plain and simple. Like we've tried to communicate and work with you, a half a dozen times, and like every single time we get told like, hey, we'll take care of whatever, and then the next story comes out and we get nothing, and then you reach out and you hear nothing back, and then finally it's like, oh yeah, like sorry, and it's like, how many times are I going to do this song and dance? So like Coop said, we're just not going to chase you down anymore. It doesn't need to be a whole thing, and everyone else makes something into a bigger deal than it needs to be. It's just me saying, look, I'm not wasting my time anymore, so your stuff doesn't get covered by us, and whatever. I mean, it's not complicated. If you can't figure it out, like we're just not wasting our time chasing people down anymore. That's it. There doesn't need to be a huge thing.
Yeah.
I'm just being very black and white with it. It's just, hey, listen, like I'm just trying to say, I'm not being like, oh, it happened one time. Like, no, it happened a bunch of times. And now I'm like, okay, well, I'm done. Like, it's not my job to chase you down. It's my job to take the news and report it. So that's really all it is. There's no like, it's not that I think Fratello's cigars are bad. They do some good stuff. But, as media representation, we're not going to waste our time chasing them down. Like, it's just, we have other things to do. So, just so that we're clear, because, already reading the comments, people are making up their own assumptions, and it's like, no, it's nothing against them as a brand. It's just their media connection is not great.
I hope you guys can work that out, because Omar's a really good guy. I'll say
he
that.
is, and he is a good guy, and that's why it's disappointing, because I like Omar, but it's like he just can't get this going.
Yeah, it's he's a good guy. I mean, I honestly say that we've had a very good relationship for 10 years with him. So, and we'll continue to have. But at the same time, I even look at this. I feel bad for you, but Matt, I'm having enough trouble chasing enough companies down. I can't say chase for other brands. It's getting to a point where at this point, like I'm pulling on the rope to the point, with these other companies. I'm like, they're clearly not interested in engaging with me. So I have less interest, with those other companies. Fratello has always been pretty good with the media, and I just hope this can get resolved. I'm going to be very honest with you on that, too. I understand your frustration, but they've been always pretty good, which is surprising me with this stuff.
And that's the thing.
But there was a big company I had a problem with.
I know.
You kind of helped me out.
I know.
So it does happen sometimes, is what I'm saying, yeah.
But look, here's the thing. This is where being in the media, this is, when everyone says good things, it's like, oh, and then you got to say something negative, which is part of our job, and that's part of our integrity. And then everyone gets all like, oh my God, negativity. And it's like, yeah, being in the media isn't all just sunshine and roses. Sometimes it's negative, and that's just reality.
Yeah.
Just as a reminder, it's, even my own wife is over here. Cigar industry smackdown. No, it's not what it is. It's just, look, it comes down to business. It's like you either give me the information or you don't. I mean, that's it. I'm gonna keep on rolling. So and then that's how Coop feels. And you know what? I take that position because a lot of what I learned from Coop. So I just keep on rolling, baby. I mean,
there's a point where I just say, you know what? There's 60 other companies that I know were engaging with us. There's a couple of companies I have trouble getting press releases from. And to be honest with you, if they have relationships with CA, going back before I was even smoking cigars. It's tough for me to crack that one. I got to be honest with you, okay? So I have to just kind of, that one I'm just going to have to kind of settle. But some of those companies that have had those relationships for that long, they've been great when I've reached out to them on stuff. So I'm not, but newer companies who, here's the other problem we get. This is what we're called the minor, this is where I feel like we're minor leaguers, right? We get press releases from a company, and the ironic thing is they're always going to CA with the new national product releases. But if they're doing this little, like, event release or single stories, then they want me to cover it. It doesn't work like that. If you can't give me the national, if you don't think it up for me to give me the national stuff in a timely manner, I'm not going to cover that stuff for you because it doesn't have a good ROI for me. So I have to make these decisions. I have to work smart because, you know what? 4 years ago, I was in a hospital, right? Because I burnt myself out, right? Because I got sick. I can't do that anymore. I just, it's one of my point where we grew last year good, and I'm just not going to, I'm not going to chase this stuff. You just won't get the coverage. And then don't get mad at me. The ball's in your court. If you're writing press releases, you should at least, you shouldn't need me to give, it should be very easy. There's only about 10 of us that cover this in the media, I want to say. There's not a lot of us that do this stuff.
Right.
You can name down the people. You got 2 of them on this show, right? You got the Developing Palace. You got Stojo. You got Half Wheel, Boston Jimmy. There's not a long list of this, and I know I'm leaving a few folks out. I'm sorry,
and
right?
that's not including the print guys, but yeah.
Right. There's enough of these out there where you should be reviewing this stuff periodically, because again, you're putting a lot of, like, some of the press releases, there's a lot of time and effort put into these things, right? You want to make sure they're getting distributed properly. So it is important to do that, because you are spending resources to do it. But if it's not reaching, this is beyond the problem of the argument, do a press release or not. This is, I'm doing them, but I'm not taking the time to do proper distribution of them. And here's the other thing you can do really easy. Put the damn thing on your website and be done with it, right? Then you can just be done with it, saying the press release is on the website every time. And there's a couple companies I've dealt with that, and that's how we do it. I mean, this is not...
Doesn't Drew Estate do that?
They do it, yeah.
Yeah.
The answer to this is very simple. It's not rocket science. This is not hard. This is not rocket science to fix this problem. It's fixable. And, I don't know what else to say.
I know. It is. It's, some companies are better than others. I mean, some companies just don't try at all. And that's fine. Yeah. That's fine.
We have a unique situation, too. Ben, who's on our team, has moved twice since he's joined the team, right? And I know Ben sometimes has trouble getting physical addresses changed, right? Because, again, there should be very easy to go change your physical address if a company wants to send you something, right? Some companies will always check with you beforehand. Some companies don't. And then Ben, I'll say, has been very proactive at getting address change stuff done, and it doesn't get done. I mean, so again, this is it's not rocket science is the title of that.
Jay Davis is firing some shots of his own. CA, what's that? The Cuban Authority? Ooh. Ooh. Garrett Robinson says he has a solution. So I don't know, Garrett. I don't know if you want to comment on it or if you want to talk about it after. But if you want to share with us,
it's not rocket science. It's easy. It's such an easy solution. Like, if you don't want to do a press release, that's fine. This is not about that. This is about press release needs to go to the press.
I know.
That's all needs to happen.
I know. And I feel bad. Can I just say,
if anyone thinks that's ridiculous, I want to know. If there's a comment out there saying I'm out of line on this, let me know. I don't think I'm out of line on this. It's a basic request I'm asking.
So let me just say this though. I feel bad because during this discussion, which now it's not really a heated discussion, but it's also not a very loving conversation. We have the polite Canadian up here on the right, who's been quiet because Canadians are too polite for negativity. So he has nothing to say. Feel bad.
I'm just sorry about the situation,
Mitchell's apologizing. He's not even involved.
Mitchell is kind of, let's put it like this. He's getting baptism by fire with this.
Yeah, one day when I accidentally give someone below an 80 on a score, I'll have to
Well,
I'll have
you
to
know,
deal with the fire.
Mitchell-
Well,
Yeah.
no. The best is they'll call someone else. Well, this is the best.
Well, they'll
part
call
what
you now,
companies will do
Coop,
when you get a
'cause-
lawsuit. They'll call.
Gary Robinson, I can create an email distro list that will send out to all media outlets. What, just for you guys at Don Doroteo, or like you mean like universal email list for everybody? Because that doesn't mean that they're necessarily going to use it.
Yeah. I got enough problem. That's great. I think Garrett's he's already done a good job with that stuff too. But my answer is I am not maintaining. The reason why I'm emphatic about not maintaining a media list for others is because I don't want to miss someone. And then I'm accused of being, controlling and stuff like that. That's
Gatekeeping.
and it's not right. I don't want that to happen at all, because it should be open to everybody, whether I like them or not. You know what I mean? So I got to be really. I can't do that. And I've been asked to do it, and I've turned almost everyone down on it. That request. I cannot get in that business.
Jay,
With
I
that.
know. I thought it was hilarious. I get it. I just thought it was funny. I mean, and there is some truth to that.
My book, this
saying.
book I write one day, this memoir on cigar media problems. It's gonna be called "It's Not Rocket Science." I mean, that's gonna be the title of that book.
That's gonna be
No one better use
that's
that.
That's gonna be the title of your book.
When I write this book, I'm going to write this memoir one day of all the horror stories I've had with cigar media relationships.
Yeah.
It's going to be called "It's Not Rocket Science." And anyone uses that title, I'm going to go after them.
You know what's funny about that? You know what's funny is when you said that.
Right.
When I hear that title, I think of the book "Somehow I Manage" by Michael Scott. If anyone knows what that is, I know Nicole does.
Yep.
Somehow I manage.
Yeah. Mitchell's got a bigger challenge, and I know John's got that. I know Aaron deals with that with John.
Yeah.
Canada. I deal with Dave in Australia. A lot. So I know those challenges, and I think those are exceptions. I kind of understand some of the challenges around that. So we've worked some things out with that. I have a couple companies that do send to Dave directly, but we've worked some stuff out to get Dave taken care of in Australia, which is always a challenge.
Dan Thompson said, because I think this is interesting, guys, sometimes people make mistakes on PR distribution. Try to help them out. But if it keeps happening, they are trying to tell you something. Yeah, so when it happens 6 times, it tells me, yeah, don't waste my time anymore. That's what it tells me.
Yeah, that.
I understand,
I
Dan.
understand what
Dan,
Dan's
I'm with
saying.
you. I love you, Dan. Believe, and to be fair, in McAuliffe, you guys do a great job. So,
Great job.
definitely not you guys, but yeah. It tells me, hey, don't waste your time trying to cover them anymore, because, you have to keep chasing them down. So it's like, all right, well, whatever.
There is this other thing that happens, and this is not under this umbrella.
Yeah.
It is. I've had to use other distribution channels to get news, and that's when a lot of companies will send it to the retailer channel first. And I don't quite understand that approach. I think it's some, but I should say there are legitimate reasons. Sometimes you do have to send it to the retailer channel first. I do understand that. In a lot of those cases, I'll try to contact the company first. But it also, I think it's fair game, right? So if I have a relationship with a company, right, I have a relationship with a company. I'll say, hey, look, I saw this on the retail site, right? If I can't get in touch with someone in the company, it's fair game for me. So I'll go with that channel. That's not what I'm talking about. When I see quotes and it's saying a press release, and look, I know the press release exists because you showed me one that you actually had gotten one of those, right? Yeah. I know it was a legitimate press release, right? And in fact, that company's not really the problem either. I think there's other companies. It's like I've been pulling on a rope with the other companies.
To be fair, the company that you're talking about doesn't really send out a lot of press releases anyway. Not because they just don't do it, because they don't make that many announcements usually.
They don't make that many announcements, and to be honest with you, in this case, I was well ahead of the story too. So
also,
it wasn't.
To be fair to that company, to be fair, in the last few years, that stuff was coming out, but they've had some internal changes, and I think that may be why it's not.
Yeah, there are some reasons why this happens, and I understand it too.
There's a little bit of a reason behind them, and I think they deserve a little bit of an excuse.
Now,
to be fair,
was one this week. There was 5 I mentioned
Yeah.
One of the 5 this week, it turned out they gave someone an exclusive, and I did get it that same day. So, and I do understand exclusives are, so that wasn't really a problem per se.
Yeah.
I did get it, and but I wasn't happy about it. I'm not gonna lie to you, but okay, I'm very much the recipient of exclusives sometimes too. So I have to be a little more patient. In that case, I get that, but I know these other ones, these press releases have gone nowhere to anybody. So I'm like, who are they going to?
There was another company, very popular company that, not like a big company, but not a small tiny one, that had someone who was handling media but also doing a bunch of other things. And Coop, I think this kind of frustrated you even more than me, but it was like kind of a similar situation with Fratello. Although they would still send me the stuff after I would have to bring it up again. They'd eventually send it. I'd have to start the process over every time.
Yeah.
And I know recently they have made some changes, and now they have an outside firm who's taking care of their marketing. And
well, yeah, and that was the company.
And it's someone who does multiple brands that we know, and he does a fucking fantastic job, I have to say.
Well, and that was the one I was like, frustrated with, yeah. So I mean, sometimes you gotta, So I get, in that case, but I always, like I said, I don't want to, we want to have the relationship with the company is the key thing. That's the most important thing I want to have out of this, is have a relationship. So when I go see you at PCA, I really am informed about what you're doing. And it's not, I should know enough about what your company's doing at that point, where I can really focus on the trade show itself and the specifics of it. I shouldn't have to go in and learn about you. And here's the other thing that I'll say. I don't know how it is to smoke tobacco. I require, unless I talk to someone and have a conversation, I have to have direct communication with them. So, for example, it's not acceptable for someone else to give me the press release. And the reason I stay away from that is there's considerations around, intellectual capital and stuff like that. Being authorized, you want to make sure you're an authorized media partner.
Yeah.
So and there was one company I pushed back on, and they did contact me direct. Someone else, there was another media person who tried to give me the press, and I was very nice. I said, I'm appreciative of it, but we need to have the relationship with the company. The company did reach out to me, and that's cool. I mean, sometimes those things sometimes happen too.
Not to like change course here.
Please change it.
Well, you don't want to answer this question?
No, go ahead. Oh no, I didn't see the question. It just.
I didn't. Okay, no, all right, never mind. David said, speaking of Garrett, Skip said something on their show, and I quote, "There isn't a cigar out there that costs more than $2 or $3 to make. What do you think?" Coop, I'll let you take the lead on this one first.
I don't know enough to answer that question, to be honest with you.
I don't either.
I really can't.
Deflected to you because I wasn't sure if maybe you did. But...
I don't think this. I don't want to. I think generally speaking, probably, but the reason why I'm getting a little careful is when you get into like aged tobaccos and stuff, there's valuation costs in the company.
Right.
So that's why I'm like, if someone's aging tobacco literally for 10 years, right? There's got to be costs that are under the covers with that we're not seeing. So, and I'm sure they're a big company. I'm sure their accountants are all over them on this. So I'm sure that's factoring into some of these costs right now. Like, well, you've been having to maintain these bales and these polones or whatever. So that's why I'm a little careful. I don't really know the answer other than I think there's sometimes other factors that may go into that. But I understand where Skip was coming from with that.
Jay,
but I don't feel really qualified to.
Jay kind of threw in a response here. Skip is right. I would venture to say that there is not a cigar made anywhere in the world that costs more than $1.50 to make. But aging, shipping, customs, taxes, and opportunity costs do add to those base costs.
Yeah. I agree with that. I would agree with that.
That's a fair assessment.
Like also, you gotta think special vitolas, or when they're made by certain bancheros, roleros, and pairs, that it's like, oh, they can only make so many a day, right? It's like, sure, a regular production cigar that's just a 5x50 Robusto, can cost you $2 or $3. But what about all of a sudden, I don't know the exact numbers, but, say on average they're making 500 a day, but this pair only makes 150 a day. Sure, at the same cost, but now they're making, 1/4 of the production with the same amount of time they're working and things like that. And like you said, definitely, the aged tobacco. But everybody knows, like, it's not like the cigar industry is doing something different than every other industry. Whiskey only costs a certain amount to make, but there's a story behind it. There's marketing behind it. There's legacy behind it. All these things go into the perceived value of a cigar. And just because, Roma doesn't necessarily want to go above and beyond those things, and they go on the model of, well, it should be a fair price, which is good, and that's why a lot of people support them. But there's a lot of companies that, although the baseline of making the product was this amount, they value their own company and their logo and their heritage and all these things at a higher perceived value. And again, at the end of the day, the market is going to choose whether or not that perceived value is the true value, because if they don't buy it, then that's not the value, and if they do buy it, then that is the value.
So Nicole made a comment, and this kind of goes along with kind of what Coop was saying about like the certain tobaccos. Nicole said, or if they purchase the tobacco from somewhere else, may be more expensive than growing it yourself, since the person selling it is trying to make a profit.
Yeah, it's a valid point. Or, sometimes, but and then I know there's some company that look at a farm and they say, and this came up a little, with the Justin interview, do I want the overhead of having a farm? I mean, there's overhead involved with that too. So some companies, they use it to their advantage. Some companies, they don't want to get involved with that piece either. But it's a valid point she makes. So that's why I'm a little careful to just say, I don't want to say it's a one-size-fits-all with Skip. I know Dan is, with McAuliffe, he and I have had numerous conversations on this. But, I'm a media guy, so I'm always careful about reporting on that stuff because I don't feel qualified enough. But I think there's other factors that Skip is missing with that maybe his operation isn't doing. He'll probably tell me I'm wrong, but that's okay. That's how I learn.
Jay said, for example, when Fuentes started making the Opus Petit Lancero, they destroyed every one they made for the first 6 months until they got the 8 tobaccos correct. And those tobaccos were 6 to 8 years old, so things like that add to cost.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Saka is. I don't want to put words. I think Saka's done stuff like that too. He has totally obliterated something when he's not happy with it. So, or maybe it gets sold. I don't know. Maybe they use it for short fill. I don't know at that point, right? But yeah, I mean, I can see that. And those are things. There are other things that factor into this sometimes. It's not all cut.
Because I think with his comment, he's trying to say like, okay, Roma makes cigars pretty much everything. I don't know, everything's pretty much under $20, and now there's all these brands with cigars that are over $20. And I think his whole thing is like, you're not really paying, like, what are you paying? Why are you paying over $20 for a cigar, right? I think that's his whole point. Is, no cigar should be over $20 when it costs $2 to $3 to make. But again, there's so many more factors than just how much it costs to make the cigar that go into why people price something. Every company runs on different margins.
No, exactly. And Jay mentioned the points that Jay mentioned, I think, are just things that we just take for granted sometimes too. So those, I think, why there's a lot in it, a lot of things that factor into this as well.
And then Alan made a comment here, which I mean, is very valid too. I mean, outside of the actual tobacco and the rolling and the making of the cigar, the packaging and marketing also drive the cost up. I mean, when you look at, like, for example, Coop has said many times that he hates the paper bundles, but it's like, it's cheaper to use a paper bundle than an ornate box that's made up of several different pieces, and they're all finely painted, that goes into a velvet bag, that goes into an exterior box. And then so shit like that is more expensive than, a raw cedar stock box, unfinished, painted with like a branding stamp on the top. Yeah, I mean, certain things also cost more. That does add to it too, as well as the other exterior costs I mentioned before, your shipping and taxes and all the logistics too, because that costs money. It's part of doing business, and at the end of the day, that's what it is. It's the cost of doing business. The cigar itself, to actually just get the tobacco and roll the cigar, outside of all of that, yes, I can see that part of it. But when you add all the exterior things into it, sure, that stuff adds up quick.
It's interesting because I do like this is where I get sometimes a little my hatred of the bundles is a little taken out of context. I do hate bundles, but I do think they work better for an online distributor. If you're selling online, I think it's certainly an option. I think certainly if it's displayed on a retail shelf, that's where I have the problem with bundles. For example, I'm shopping for a watch, right? I need a new watch. My watch finally died after 15 years, and I'm looking at online options, and I've been in a few stores as well. And I see I see some of the watches how they're displayed in the stores, and I can understand it. But online, I don't really need it. I'm not look if I just get it in a decent looking box, I'm happy with that. I don't need to have something like the velvet bag, like you were talking about. Things like that. So, but I do think there is a difference if you're certainly going to a brick and mortar. You want to make sure it displays very nicely. So that's why, I do think bundles work. Like when Abe does a cigar, right? Abe the Babna, he could put that in a bundle because a lot of those micro blends, some of them he doesn't put on the shelves. Some of them he just sells online.
Right.
So in that case, I kind of understand that's a great way to cut some costs, right? But I still think if it's going to be if it's something he's selling in the store, he wants to put in a vintage room, it's got to have a nice box on it.
Yeah, and again, just to circle back a little bit, like there wasn't a knock on like some of the more sophisticated packaging. Personally, I think it's great. It's very elegant.
It drives it up. It drives the cost
Hey,
up.
you know what? When
given.
when you get a box like that and you bring it home and you open it, you feel special, right? I mean,
Yep.
most people
Yeah.
do. Like it's not bad. It's just
Yeah.
it's more expensive to make packaging like that because there's more components to it. It costs more money than just like your basic, like I said, just like a raw plain wooden box versus like a real nice dress box. It's just simple math. I mean, one costs more than the other. But yeah, to what you just said, yeah, I understand that too. I mean, and Jay made an interesting comment here too. Sometimes growers just burn the fields when the tobacco doesn't come out right. Another cost, or like Skip mentioned recently on a show, how they fermented a few pilons wrong and they had to destroy the tobacco. I mean, tobacco's money too.
Yeah, and sometimes the company will absorb the cost, and sometimes the company will pass the cost on to the finished product. It really just depends on their business model.
Yeah.
It's true. And every company does everything differently. So it's, like to Mitchell's point, I mean, yeah, it depends on their situation. Sometimes the bigger companies, depending on what the bigger company is, they have more room to absorb it. Others, they can't really afford to absorb it. They got to make up for it somehow. It happens. But like I said before, at the end of the day, all of this is all good points, but it all can be boiled down to one simple thing, and it's the cost of doing business, which is a universal truth across any industry, no matter what it is.
And look, the thing I say is I'm sorry, I didn't even know you, Matt.
No, go ahead.
We always say cigars are a luxury product. We're not operating any differently when it comes to packaging than any other luxury product industry. So I think sometimes to pick on packaging costs is a little unfair because, again, we are positioning this stuff as a luxury product.
That's true.
I don't have a problem with that.
Neither do I.
Now, if you're putting a $4 cigar and trying to dress it up as a special limited edition, that's when I'll call it out.
Like, for example,
by the way, Miami Heat just won, by the way. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No,
Miami
it's
Heat
okay.
just won, yeah.
I just need to use the analogy to kind of do your point. It's like, let's go outside the cigar industry for a second, right? Do you think it costs Rolex the same amount of money to make the green box? I mean, I don't know who knows Rolex, but if you know Rolex, it comes in the green box, the famous green box. Do you think it costs more money to make the green box than, say, Fossil spends to make their little tins or whatever they sell their watches in?
I'm not sure. I can't answer that just because Rolex
probably
was ruled out of my
is
price range.
what I'm implying.
Rolex was ruled out. Yeah. Rolex was considered, but it fell off the list pretty quick. So, I'm not getting a Rolex, so I'm not. I do want to retire in a few years. So
my point being is, you talk about luxury products and luxury products like that, they tend to have nicer packaging. It's all part of the experience, right? You have a luxury product, you don't just hand it over. You put it in a nice packaging. You create the presentation. You create the experience. So like, you have a nice product. You're gonna have to also spend money to give it a nice presentation. So that way, the value of that product also isn't watered down by you buy a Rolex and they just stick it in a fucking cardboard box and go, here you go, here's your $10,000 watch. No, they're gonna
Yeah.
put it in like a whatever it costs to make that box. It's probably gonna.
Yeah.
My point being, it's gonna cost more than someone who makes a $300 watch. For the packaging, they're gonna put that watch in. Building on what you said. You know what I mean. Another example. You look at the alcohol industry. Right? Look at some of these bottles of wine or bottles of whiskey that come in wooden boxes versus just the bottle itself. I mean, there's certain things that have more build up to it, and yeah, it costs money. Whether you realize it or not, it does. I mean, you see something you're like, oh, look at the box that comes in. That's fucking badass. You're paying for that box. Just you're when you spend whatever it is, and it's a lot of money, you're paying for that box. It's a nice box, but you're still paying for it. It costs money.
Yeah. And Matt, I've been critical of trade show booze, right?
Yeah.
And in particular, a lot of this has come with TPE. I always felt like our booze at TPE, at least the last time I was there, I think there's been some improvement. If you want to have a look, I get sometimes all you could do is have a tablecloth and a small booth, right? But when I hear people talk about they want to have a trade show in a warehouse, right, with tablecloths and stuff like that, I'm like, no. Again, these are luxury products, and when you have retailers who still have a big wholesale cost, you better have like a nice set of couches for them. You better have a really nice display so they can see the product and with good lighting. It is important. That's why I think, again, when we're talking about luxury products, it is important to have a very nice booth, right? I understand the year like when Pete Johnson scaled the booth back with 100 days for a trade show. That's not what I'm talking about here. Because the following year, Pete Johnson did scale the booth up, and I think it looked good, and it was very, it was very effective, I thought. So again, we're talking luxury products here, and that's the market we're dealing with.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a fair assessment.
Yeah. That was a good try. That actually was a good question.
Yeah, what? Just give a shout out to David. Thank you for that. That created more of a conversation.
Yeah, I wasn't. I thought we were talking about. I thought we were talking about the press release thing. That's why I wasn't poo-pooing on David's question. It is a good question. More press release stuff. I was like,
do you want to go back to the press release thing? Do you need to get more of it off your chest?
Absolutely not. I wasn't even planning on bringing it up. You did.
Did you not want me to bring it up? Because now I feel bad.
No. It is fair game. I would have told you don't bring something up this week beforehand. No, it's totally fair.
All right.
It's the frustration that I have. I don't like to show that frustration, but it's frustrating. I just don't understand it anymore. I want to understand it, and when I see media guys making excuses, like in defending this behavior, I'm like, what are you guys doing? It's like, come on.
Yeah. No, I agree, and like I said, I've had some of that frustration too, and I just learned to deal with it on a case by case basis, and I chose to be a little bit more open about some of my frustrations tonight. But hey, you know what? I'd be curious to see, inevitably when that gets back around, I'm either gonna get like, oh, I feel horrible now, like we really need to fix this, or I'm gonna get like, oh, go fuck off. And I'm like, okay.
Hopefully this is fixable. I mean, you guys are all good people here, so
no, I know, and it's
not
to attack anybody either. It's just like, look, like some people just need to figure it out. It's like you said, it's not rocket science. Like we're at the end of the day, we're trying to help you. You know what I mean? Like help us help you. That's really what the frustration is.
Yeah.
Because also, Coop, how many times have you has someone gone, oh, Coop, did you guys cover that story? Oh, did you guys cover that story? Oh,
after you gave it to my competitor, like hours before me, and I'm like, well, we're gonna cover it, but you got deprioritized. That's how it works. When you give it to someone else first, it's already out there. I don't feel a priority to suddenly change our cycle. If we're in the middle of writing or editing a review or covering another story or have a personal thing going on, you're going to get deprioritized. There's no way around that. I mean, but if you're taking the time to get it to me timely, we're going to make every effort to get that out there the same day. So, correct. I mean, that's how it works.
Correct.
Yeah, that's how it works. I think that's a fair thing. If you want to give it exclusive to someone, go at it, is what I'm saying. But what I'm just saying is, I can't do it that way. And don't ask me why it's not in the KMA news, right? Either, because look, Ken, I only have X number of minutes to cover KMA news. So I got to prioritize everything how I think the audience is going to respond to it, and not bore Abe at the same time. So
it's true. It's got to be engaging.
Yeah.
Can't have Abe fall asleep on the
Yeah.
show.
No, I mean, I have to be. Look, Abe's great, right?
He
But
is.
I also, Abe can get bored pretty easy if and I try not. I try to certain like I don't cover shop exclusive stuff with Abe. But at the same time, I try not to make it all about Rapper Bind the Fill with Abe. So, and I've had to learn that over the years, and because that show has a different vibe than maybe our shows. It's a morning radio show. It's meant to be engaging, fun, and light. So I have to
More
I had to learn
entertainment.
that for a little while when I first started. Yeah, I had to learn that. It took me a little while to learn that piece with Abe, by the way. But I think I got it now, and he'll let me know if I don't, for sure.
Absolutely. I agree, and
Yeah.
I think you do a great job on there.
Yeah.
In the way that you handle that show versus here or like on your show or wherever, it's different.
It's different. I feel a little different, yeah. But for example, like STG releases, right? We're having a little fun with it with the STG release of the week, right? Because again, what am I going? Well, we have this new cigar. It's got Cameron wrapper, and it's Connecticut. Like, it's boring. It's boring, right? And so I have to we have to mix a little entertainment in with it. But not make it where I don't want to make it where I'm the entertainer. I want the story to be entertaining. So but keep to the integrity of the story too, which is very important. We don't want to misrepresent the story either. So we had a little fun. We created this STG release of the week segment within a segment now.
Yeah.
They better not let me down, by the way, because if the streak ends, I don't know what to do with the segment.
I know. Now it's like they have to keep making products just so that you have a streak to keep up on KMA.
Yeah. Justin knows about it now. Like, I was worried, right? And I didn't want to say anything to Justin, like, on a Thursday night. I had nothing for Thursday night. Like, well, let me see what happens. And Friday comes in.
Boom.
Yep. I said, good news, guys. We got it.
He sent the word up. He sent the word up, and he got the press release out just in time.
Dan Thompson said STG release cycle had to be for their online. It doesn't help retailers.
I agree with him.
Yeah.
I agree with him.
It's true.
Totally agree with him. I think retailers got to be overwhelmed with that. I mean, that's kind of what I was trying to get in a little on the show Thursday night, yeah. But remember, STG does a lot of online business, and I get that, yeah.
Yeah,
but like 100%. I said, the
100%.
Altadis piece, I think Altadis has nailed it down. I think Drew State has got it down now, and Davidoff has always had it down with that. So, like Drew State used to do all the announcements like right before the trade show, but then they had periods when they shipped it where they'd focus on those releases. So I think they did a good job. Maybe they make all the announcements at once, right before a trade show or right before a time of the year. But then afterwards, okay, now we're shipping Underground 10. Now we're shipping Nica Rustica. Now we're shipping the FSC 20 Acre Farm. So I think they found a way to make that piece work for them.
Yeah, I agree. Kind of transitioning into another topic. David has another question. Let's see how long this one takes us. Coop, can you elaborate on Jose Blanco? You guys said briefly this morning he'll be in the U.S. more. I mean, I actually know this one. You can elaborate too.
Yeah, I mean, I'll let you take it, Matt. I think we both know the answer to that. Here's what I'll say. I think the story was his role really hasn't. He's already doing that, is what I'm saying. But go ahead, Matt. You take it over. He was the one going to the U.S. But you take it, Matt, and then I'll add.
I was just gonna say. I mean, I just remember, from the press release that I got on that. It did mention, about halfway down, that Jose and Carlito will be doing more in-store events throughout the United States, 2023 and 2024. So I take that as I think you're going to see more appearances in shops. They also mentioned as well as an online realm as well, so I think more virtual stuff, but regardless, I mean, if you've been going to shops and you've been smoking cigars for a little while now, you know that, Carlito and Jose, you don't really see them in many shops, at least in the U.S. very often. I mean, I think before the pandemic, I think Carlito only visited like a handful of stores, like a year, if I vaguely remember correctly. So it sounds to me like this is more of an effort to put them in more stores more often, to, see people, engage with people more, which I think to the average consumer is exciting because you have more of an opportunity to actually get that one-on-one FaceTime with them in a store.
If you look at historically, and I'll plug episode 263 we did with Jose,
Yep.
because we talked about this a little, even though I had no idea about the story, by the way. It was leaked to me from someone else, actually, but after the show. But okay, so Jose is like, he's had a lot of director of sales roles over the years, particularly
Sure.
with La Aurora,
Hoy to
with
Nicaragua.
EP Carrillo, now Fuente. Hoy to Nicaragua, yeah, I mean, yeah. But Jose is not a guy who you hire him as director of sales, and he is going to be rolling up maybe he's doing some of that. You don't really bring Jose in to roll up spreadsheets and numbers, okay? You bring Jose in for his relationships he has in the industry, the knowledge and the education he has. So what he's been doing over in the Eastern Hemisphere is pretty much exactly that. He is directing sales, but he's emphasizing education. He's emphasizing relationships. He's visiting a lot of different countries there, and I think it's been a very successful formula they've had in Europe with Jose there. And look, Jose is still a big name in this industry.
He is.
You look at the U.S. market. Hey, why not leverage him? What he does great for the U.S. market. So I think it was a smart. I don't think it's really this big. I heard people say it was a big change. It's not really a big change, other than he's probably now going to be covering stores in the U.S. But he was doing that already. Trips to Poland, Germany, Bulgaria. He was doing a lot of that already, and now he'll just be doing that here. And I think it's a great move for Fuente, because there's going to be times he can't get Carlito's travel schedule is nuts, as everyone knows.
Oh.
And he's doing a lot. Yeah. So you have this guy, Jose, who's an incredibly valuable resource. And now you think of Jose Blanco with Fuente on the same sense. Like, it's not like for years he was a La Aurora guy, and then he moved to a few businesses. But he's been with Fuente now for over 3 years, and we associate Jose as a Fuente. So I think it's a lot of sense. Getting Jose is not getting the B team by any means. You're getting really good access to him. And hey, him and Carlito have a dynamic together. So if they're going to be doing stuff together, that's even more, and it's going to help some of your biggest retailers in the U.S. So I think it's a great move for Jose.
I think so too. And,
I hope he's just
the
doesn't
company.
burn himself out. But that's my concern. Yeah, I just worry about him burning himself out because he does a lot of travel. But I think it's a great move for him. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's obviously a lot older too, and traveling is and I know. Well, I know why Mitchell laughed, but that's not even me saying like in a negative way. I mean, the reality is he is older, and to Coop's point, travel is exhausting. It is.
It's exhausting. I just went through a major travel schedule for about 8 weeks.
Yeah.
So I could tell you I was physically exhausted.
Especially like coming over from Europe and then going all around the U.S., go back to Europe, come back, like
Dominican Republic in there too, by the way.
Then you get to go down to the Dominican Republic. So someone at Jose's age, I mean, like I said, I know people pick on Jose, call him elderly and all that stuff, but the reality is, he's not super young anymore. And when you do that much travel and you're doing events and you're at shops and you're smoking cigars, and, maybe you're drinking. I don't know if Jose drinks a lot, but just for the point of it, I look at Carney, right? Carney is 36.
That guy's a road. What a road warrior that guy is.
And he travels a lot, not as much as he used to. But I just talking to him, I hear him in his schedule. He comes back off the road. He's like, dude, I'm fucking exhausted. I was here and I was there. It's like now double that age, And a guy who's had some issues the last couple of years. He survived COVID. He had some other things go on, and Coop's right. He's a trooper.
Shout out to our other friend.
He's a trooper.
Yeah. Another shout out. Yeah, no, he is. Another shout out to one of our friends, Juan Lopez of Gurkha.
Yeah.
This guy, and look, he's enjoying his honeymoon in Spain right now. But this guy has had his schedule is unbelievable, and it's not just U.S. I remember he was going into South America. He was going over to Europe at times. I remember he got married, and then a few weeks later his daughter got married. Do you know the day after his daughter got married where he was?
Great Smoke.
Working the Great Smoke.
Yep.
Working the Great Smoke. That guy's work ethic is second to none.
Dedication.
And that's some dedication. And there's a lot of guys at the Carneys. We've talked a lot about these guys. The reps. God bless every rep who does this traveling. God bless them. I couldn't do it. I mean, there's some reps of some pretty big territories out there. So you got my Jose. Jose's territory is now worldwide.
Yeah, it's true.
So yeah, it's, so I mean, but I think the other thing is Jose really loves it. He may get frustrated with the travel at times, but he loves being with customers and being in front of consumers. He's always loved that. I mean, when Jose comes, I mean, I'm hoping that I could go to a Jose Blanco event in my area at some point. Like, he used to come to Atlanta every year when he had Las Cumbres, and I'd go down every year to see him in Atlanta, and I'd stay overnight. I mean, I'm like, I got to, and I go to his seminar. I mean, so I'm thrilled that, and this is again Fuente. This is a great move. When you think about Fuente, this is another move of Fuente, really strengthening up their relationship with retailers and consumers here. This is a great move for the company, and I think Jose is going to really be happy with it.
I think so too, and
he seemed happy when I talked to him about it. He seemed really happy about it. So
yeah, and you mentioned doing one of Jose's events. I mean, most people know, and if you don't, Jose is really well known for his tasting seminars. I mean, specifically the ones he does. From the folks I know who've been involved in them, I mean, that's like a bucket list thing for some people. I mean,
yeah,
it is for me. It is for me. So
I've been to 4 of them. Yeah, and they're incredible. The first one I went to was 2011 at the IPCPR in Las Vegas. He had committed with La Aurora to do it, and it was the last thing he did before he was going to quote unquote retire. And that was it. That was his swan song, and he thought he was going to be done. And then a month later, he was back in the business. And he was I know he was going to retire. He literally had every intention of retiring, and then I think he realized he missed it too much. So, because he's never said he's going to retire again, if you notice that.
Oh, yeah.
But the one time he said he was going to, yeah.
That's called passion.
Came out of
He's
retirement.
got the passion. He's like, fuck that. I'll work till I die.
Yeah.
Oh, he loves it. Yes. He loves it.
Absolutely. You can never knock him for that.
No, you can't. And, like I said, I do talk to Jose a lot. I know what he's doing over in Europe, and he's done an amazing job. And the Fuentes really value him. Is the other thing I said. They value him. He's a critical part of that think tank nucleus. I saw it firsthand in the Dominican. So,
the Jay Davis asked a question here that I think is a little interesting.
Well, I mean,
what's older?
I think the answer to it,
Jose's body or Juan's liver?
I think Jose's body. I hate to say it, but Jose, like he jokes about this. He may outlive a lot of us. Okay, so
I know
that guy. He's got a use.
He's always looking great.
Exuberance. He does look good.
And that's why I was a little worried when I saw him in the DR. I was a little worried about him. That was the first time I ever saw him where I was worried about him in person. And he wasn't feeling good that week, and thank God everything's okay for him. Because now I see he's back to his old self, and he's this was a great thing. By the way, to go back to Jay's question, I think the answer is that if you date back Jose, you could go back to the times of the Phoenicians. So you go back before the ancient Greeks. So if you do time dating on it.
And there it is. There it is. There's the ball busting. There it is. I tried to be serious about it, and Coop, there it is.
No, but I also said he'll probably outlive me. He'll probably outlive me.
I know.
So,
I know. That's true.
Kidding, so, yeah.
Oh, man.
When you look at Jose's age compared to my age, I think it's 18 years. It's not that big an age gap of me and him, so he may very well happen. Jose was 18 when I was born. He was still a kid, so just keep that in mind. It's not as far-fetched, is what I'm saying.
Really? I thought you guys were much closer in age.
I think it's 18 years. I'm pretty sure it's 18 years.
I thought it was only like 5.
Yeah, some days it seems like that, right? Yeah, I like this.
It took Coop a second. He was like, okay.
I love Nicole's idea with that. I love Nicole's idea with that.
It's true. It is a good idea.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's not. I know it's not the real experience. I use air quotes on that, but I still think there's a lot of effectiveness there.
All right.
Yeah.
So you go to a Jose Blanco seminar, okay? You guys have not been to a Jose Blanco seminar yet, or have
No.
you?
No.
Okay. So you go there in person, okay? You're not going to be able to just sit there and like hide in the back. Jose picks on every person in the audience, is what I'm going to tell you, and he will put you on the spot. He will ask you questions, like making sure if you're asleep, God help you if you're not paying attention. Okay, so it may be a little tougher to do that on like a Zoom type of setting, but I think it could maybe work. But yeah, he will absolutely pick on you. Trust me. And then he will, he'll have a lot of fun. And it's a lot of fun to see because again, he engages with every single person in that audience, and you feel like you're a part of that. That's why people go back to those things time and time and time. I went back twice with the same cigar, right? Just because I wanted to see and I still got the blends wrong every time, right? So, he just really has, and that's what he has a gift to making you feel like he's not just up there as the professor. He's engaging with you, and you come out of that and you feel like you made a friend. And I'm being completely honest. That's how I got it with that first IPCPR seminar in 2011.
Yeah, Jose, I will say he's very genuine. He knows his shit. He's not afraid to be business tough at times when he needs to be. But
he'll be on. I'll
but
ask
he's
him
honest.
sometimes. I can't. Coop,
He won't
I can't do that.
bullshit
I
you.
can't do. And he won't bullshit you. He goes. I'll ask him for something sometimes, and I can work on that. And I was like, Coop, I can't do this one. I can't. So, and that's been how he's been with me as long as I know him.
Like, I don't think I've ever asked Jose something or for something or about something, and he gave me the runaround game. He'll either be like, no, that can't happen, or like, yeah, well, you know what? I'm not 100% sure. Let me see what I can do, and I'll get back to you. And you know what? He does.
Yeah.
He get back. Do you remember, Coop, do you remember, this is going back, do you remember last summer to the kidnapping story? Do you remember that?
Kidnapping story.
Remember
Why am I drawing up?
Remember the thing that happened with the lady?
Oh yeah. Oh
and,
yes.
Yeah, we were up late. Me and Coop were on the phone for like 4 hours.
And
you were like,
yes.
you gotta call Jose. And I said, okay. And I called Jose.
He knows everything. He'll know everything.
And it was like 7 a.m. over in Macedonia. And Jose is his phone. He's like, hey,
He's up feeding the ducks.
What's going on? And I said, Jose, I go, I'm on the phone with Coop. We have a situation. Okay, what is it? We'll figure it out. And I laid that straight. He's like, okay. I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to call you back at 9 a.m. my time, and I'm going to have an answer for you. I know some people. Don't worry about it. I'm going to figure it out. And, Coop, what happened at, like, fucking 9:02 on
9
the
o'clock.
dot?
9:02. Yeah.
My phone rings. I go, there he is. Well, this is what I know. And I'm like, dude, he's punctual. He gets it done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know how many people would have been like, yeah, I'll let you know. And 3 days later, they're like, I don't know. Like, fucking he had an answer on the dot.
Let's be a little careful about kidnap. No one was actually kidnapped. Okay?
No.
We kind of use that word.
It's a running joke amongst...
Someone was misrepresenting themselves in the industry.
Yeah.
And that's what it was like. And I just didn't add up. And that's why I said to call Jose. Yeah. I won't say the company or the person, but yeah, and that's where you have to be really careful. That's why we want to have relationships with people. It's so important why we have to have these relationships because this stuff does happen from time to time. And Matt being newer, Matt, I'm not trying to pick on you, but it's a little easier picking sometimes.
Well, I was smart enough to know.
You called me, and I'm like
this is a little weird. I don't know why somebody wants to put me on a plane to Europe. And I better just scope this out. And Jose did his due diligence and was like, well, I don't like it. Don't do it. Okay. Thank you, Jose.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, no, it wasn't actually a kidnapping story. I think that that part of the joke came from, I think it was Jose.
You going there?
Jose said, I don't know. It doesn't sound good. You might get kidnapped. I don't know. He said, I wouldn't do it. I'm like, all right. So, I forgot about that. That was a highlight. Coop, we had fun that night.
That was,
me and you stayed up like all night dealing with that. I remember that.
We were like 1 a.m. I'm like, what? And I was like looking, and I'm like, this doesn't add up. Something's
I remember
not
saying
right
to
about it.
you,
I kept saying,
I go, Coop, I don't want to keep you up. And you were like, oh, no, I'm too invested in this now.
oh, this was like, yeah.
Mitchell,
Yeah,
I'll tell you this story after the show.
Yeah.
So
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we'll tell you the
All
full
good.
story.
All good. All good.
Yeah, I mean, and I'll say this. The other thing I'll just say is Jose and I do talk a lot, but when it comes to Fuente business, let me make it very clear. He's not. That stays behind Fuente closed doors.
Yeah.
When it comes to that, he is, and I respect. I've never pushed him on stuff like that. I always respected him on that. I did on the show ask him about the bet with. I told him about the bet with Abe, and he clammed up on that one immediately. You know, when it came out to the Fuente Padrones, no hot in glass. He did, you know, that he is not tipping anything out with that. So, and that's how it was. So, that means he knows something.
Another possible, you know, in the press release it says both Carlito and Jose are going to be in the U.S. a bit more. You know, we also forget to mention their big brand new Arturo Fuente book is hitting U.S. markets, and I know they're planning to do some book tours with that, and you know, maybe, you know, they're probably just going to want to promote that a bit more.
And that's the book that Aaron Sigmund wrote.
Aaron Sigmund, yeah, our friend Aaron Sigmund.
Yeah.
And I could see probably Carlito wanting to do a lot of those events too, like because that's him. Like he is the steward of the family, you know, one of the stewards of his family right now, and I know he wants to really probably tell that story. I don't think it's about selling books with him. I really don't. I think it's more about, you know, obviously he created this incredible book with Aaron Sigmund, and you know, it's about like
it is about the story.
It's about the story. I don't think this is not about Carlito trying to move 1,000 of these books, which they're not cheap either. But yeah.
Yeah, and you know, one of the things about Carlito too, that I find interesting is, and quite remarkable, to be honest with you. You know, like that. I think you're right. You know, in that instance, it's about promoting the story. And you know, we all know Carlito is very busy. His travel schedule is unlike. I think it's safe to say unlike any other in the industry. I mean, he's going a lot, and
he's quiet about what he does. Sometimes you don't know every place he is.
It's true, but what I will say is when he does, I know when he does do, I don't want to say every single event, but the majority of events that he does now, because of his availability, for him to go and fly out and travel somewhere to do an event, a lot of times now he does it for support of CFCF, like an event that, you know, somehow intertwined with that. So it's kind of like, hey, like I don't have time to do just, you know, events for business. So like if I'm coming, like I'm doing this for the charity. This isn't even about money for me. This is about you know, supporting the charity, which I think is great too. I mean, and it's, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and I remember, Matt, the night you and Nicole got married, you guys went to dinner. Like, so you guys went to a dinner. And hey, we were to meet over at the Bar Luca. And Carlito shows up there. And the problem is, here's the problem. Carlito can't go to the bathroom sometimes. He can't move because everyone is stopping Carlito. It is, you know, I see it happen with other people, like soccer and stuff like that. It is, you know, it's got to be really hard on and Carlito doesn't want to turn anybody away, you know. But, you know, the guy, that's what I'm saying. He just can't be everywhere sometimes. And, you know, somebody said, well, I don't see Carlito here or there. It's hard. That's a hard thing to do. And I know that Carlito loves people. So I don't think it's anything more than, but I think he also has to realize his limitations too. And sometimes I'm always respectful of that space of his. I remember I had to give him here, take the award. He's like, what's this? Like, oh, you won Factory of the Year. And he was like, oh, and then he gives me a hug, and I'm like, I know you were busy, and it was, but that's you know, I wanted to hand that to him personally. So it's tough on guys like that, and it's tough on guys like Saka's another, you know, he's another megastar. Guy can't go 5 feet without being stopped. So it's very hard on these guys, and they got a lot of respect. Yeah, I always try to respect their space too, and I think you guys do as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Because I mean, you know, there's a lot, and like you said, him and a few others too. I mean, when you see him at certain events where there's a lot of people around, especially industry people.
Yeah,
you know, there's a line
And
of
look,
people
yeah,
waiting to just to say hello for like 2 seconds. You know, I mean, it's.
Oh yeah, great smoke last year. Remember that?
Oh yeah.
And I felt bad going on the line, and I said, look, I just wanted to say hello, and because I said I know I just spent time with Carlito, right?
Yeah.
But I want to, but there were people who had not seen Carlito ever. I said, you need to talk to these people, and there were people, and he stayed until I think he stayed after the show actually closed and was talking to everybody. He really made the effort there. So I've seen, believe me, this guy loves people, and it fuels him, and it's a beautiful thing to see.
Absolutely, I agree. And that's what but again, to circle back, that is what makes it tough too, and it's challenging. It is. It's really challenging.
Yeah, yeah, it is. And Jose, by the way, Jose too is another one. I never get time with Jose because he's again at the trade show. He can't go 5 feet. I mean, people don't see him now once a year at the trade shows. And I have good access to him. You have good access to him, but not a lot of people do. So you have to kind of let them have that time too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We're fortunate enough that we have that, and a lot of people don't. So,
yeah.
you have to spread the wealth. It's very important.
Yep. Yep.
Coop, were there any other topics you had on your list for this show this week?
I think there's one more, and it's related to Fuente and the Cigar Family Charitable Fund. I think we should talk about that. That was.
Oh yes, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, so I think we need to close that out with that. Yeah.
That's true. So, I didn't forget about it, but okay, let's do it.
No, but that was the other thing I knew we were going to talk about. Yeah.
So, this is the final days for our Cigar Family Charitable Foundation fundraiser. Raffle has been great. It's not official. Let me just double check just in case. It's not officially in stone, but we're close enough to say that we reached the goal. We're probably going to reach the goal that I had set before we started at 30,000. We're at 29,170. I'm sure over the next couple of days we'll be able to actually officially cross that. So I'm very happy with where we are. It's been another major successful year. We've for the third year in a row now. Well, the second year in a row actually, because the first year is the first year. So for the second year in a row, we have crossed the previous year's total amount, with the exception of last year. The Fuentes matched our final total, so I take that out with what we as a group raised by ourselves without
amazing.
Yeah, we have crossed again. So last year, before they matched, it was 25,500. So now we're, a few $100s away from 30,000. That's big. And I said from the beginning I want to do around 30,000. So we're just about there. So just a huge thank you to everyone once again who donated all the prizes, all the manufacturers. We really appreciate it. To everyone who donated the money. Wow, just amazing. So proud of all of you. So proud of everyone who helped put this together. A huge thank you to everybody. We have officially 3 days, 18 hours, and 5 minutes left. So now that we're really close, Wednesday at 4 p.m., I think it's 4 p.m. Eastern, is the cutoff time. That is when it will shut off. It won't take anything else in. So then that night we'll have our celebration show, and we will talk about all the winners and stuff like that. So just, if you haven't got in yet, please get in. The link is pinned in the video feeds, as well as if you're listening later, it's in the podcast description. It should be for the last several episodes of all the shows we've been running.
It's on your website as well.
It's on our
right
website.
On your website as well at the top.
Yep. It's on our website, smokingtobacco.com. If you go to CFCF Charity Fundraiser, you go down to 2023. You can see last year, they'll all be listed as we go. So 2021 isn't on there just because it was kind of different. We didn't use the rally-up system. So I don't really have the links for that because we kind of did it a little more freeform. But you can go to last year's. You can see the page. You can see the prizes. You can see what we raised and all that. Go to 2023. You see this one. You can still donate. You can make a general donation, or you can buy raffle tickets. And again, you only have a couple more days to do that, so don't sleep on that. Or if you wanted to get more tickets, increase your chances of winning something, you have until Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern to get in on that. But yeah, Coop, like you said, I mean, I'm blown away. Just the response on this.
It is, and you know, every year, you know, it's tough every year for people sometimes to do it, but every
Yeah.
year people I think are getting more and more into it, and you know, I think this is the best prize. Like they've all been amazing prize pools, but when you look at this year's prize pool that's in there, there is some amazing stuff, not just from the fund, but a lot of other people as well. So, and the best thing is you win by donating that money. That you win because when you go down, and if you've not been down there, but when you go down there, you'll understand why you win just from doing that. And I think the prizes are a nice touch to it, and it makes it some fun. You have some fun with it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Very well said. And it's a lot of work, to put this together. It's not easy. I've had the people approach me
Oh man,
about.
I don't know how you do. I don't know how you, Nicole. I remember the first year you did it. You guys were getting on a plane to go to Florida the next day.
Yeah.
And I was on the show with Carney. You guys went to sleep, and we were still on the show. I think that day.
I
with
had to let
Cynthia
it.
and
Yeah,
stuff
I'm
that
like,
day.
guys, I have to go because I got to get the packages priced up for all the winners, and I have to get them to the post office in the morning because I got to get on an airplane to go to Miami. So
Yeah.
that was definitely tolling.
Yep. Yep.
Poor planning on our part. I take responsibility for that. But
You had no idea that it was even going to grow to that point that first year either. I don't think.
yeah, the first year we did $7,000, which it's not
Yeah.
$7,000 is $7,000, but
That's huge first year.
For
Yeah.
you were new. You were new. You were a year old. I mean, so. And now it's gotten the word's gotten out on this. It's become an annual tradition. So yeah, I mean a lot of hard work you guys do on that.
The community is going above and beyond. It's just amazing to see that being part of this whole thing and just seeing it happen. And like I said, last year donating and this year helping promote. It's just it blows my mind that people every year, time and time again, are going above and beyond on all ends.
Yep.
Yeah, and I have to say, I mean, it's kind of a big deal because we wouldn't even be here without this. But last year we got a $10,000 donation, which was a little less than half of the final total last year. And that same person who wants to remain anonymous donated that amount again this year. So I mean, a third of what we raised was from one very generous person who has donated again.
But it still went up. But it still went up.
And it still went up. Yeah, you're right. And we're still higher than last year. So it's like, but it's still a lot. And so to that person too, we appreciate it so much because it does play such a huge part in it too. I mean, that's very generous. That's a lot of money. We appreciate it. It's very special. So the person wants to remain anonymous. I'm going to leave it that way, but just so that they know publicly, we appreciate that so much. That was just very amazing. Like I said, you can find the link in the comments on the video, on the podcast audio, on our website, smokingtobacco.com. It's an amazing event. I'm really proud that we've been able to put this together. Third year in, we've got it pretty streamlined to how we think it should be. So it was a lot easier this year than the first 2 years, but it's still a lot of work. So just once again, thank you to everybody. Really, I really appreciate it.
Yep. No, Nicole's been working a lot hard behind the scenes, so thank you to her as well.
Absolutely.
So,
she does a lot.
We had
like this
absolutely.
week, she's making promos and stuff like that. So
sure, absolutely. She's the first lady of cigar media. So
oh wow, that's a I don't think I've heard that before.
I don't know if I should say it. I know Cynthia's like the first, so maybe that's come with another name, but she is definitely. Nicole does a great job. So
she does. She does.
Yeah, it was good to see her back on. It was good to see her back on last Wednesday. So that was good to see. Yeah. So
Queen of media.
I abstained from
Queen of-
smoking
yeah.
just so she could be with me. I was like, you know what?
yeah, good. Yeah, good man. You're a good man. Yeah.
So
This is it was
we-
good.
we-
Yeah,
we-
'cause
we-
she's a big part of this. I know.
Yeah, no, she is, and there was a couple of different plans on how that show was supposed to go, but then she's like, "Hey, I'll come on with you. We'll showcase the prizes." I'm like, "Okay," and so it was great. It was great to have her back again. It felt like old times.
Yep.
And I know she brought it up in the comments earlier. I had said it's great to have an old face here, and of course, Mitchell and Nicole ganged up on me and turned it into, "Oh, you called her old," and I'm like, "No,
I know you didn't mean to, but
I
it's
didn't
just
say that.
it was
I
just
didn't say anything, Nicole. I want you to know I was completely innocent of that.
Well, Coop, you shouldn't talk. I mean, you do have an old face.
I'm fat. I'm bold. I'm old. Okay, and it's very simple with me.
Hey, I didn't say
Coop's got-
fat.
Coop's-
No one
Coop's
said
got the
fat.
trifecta going.
I got the trifecta. I got the dad bod here. So.
Yeah, you're the new Punch cigar.
They named it.
They should just call that the
I
William
like
Cooper
wearing a
cigar.
tie, and I like wearing. You know, it's funny. I wear ties a lot. People, I wore a tie once on the show, and something bad happened to me. Like, so I won't wear it on the show again.
Did it catch on fire?
Did you burn the tie?
No.
Please lose.
Something happened outside the show afterwards. So
Oh.
that's why I won't do it again.
Oh God, I can only imagine. Oh Jesus.
Yeah.
No, it was funny because I was listening to
Yeah.
you guys on KMA this morning. Was it you or Abe who said it? And they were like, you guys were talking about, like, oh man, I can imagine what that boardroom meeting must have been like. Where they're like, hey, and we got a band on here, and then there's a necktie that comes down. Isn't this awesome? And I just died laughing. I was in the car driving, and I was just like, oh my God.
Hey, I kind of like it.
You know what? It is unique. I'll give
I
it to
kinda
him.
like it, man.
I'll give it to him.
Look, it's had some mixed feedback. I've shown it to some people who actually thought it was pretty good. Who are cigar people and non-cigar people. So, but there were others that we really like. You know what I didn't like? I didn't like the name. The name I just didn't like.
I didn't like the name.
Uh,
Otherwise, if it had a better name, I think all-encompassing, it would be a little bit cooler. I think the name is just kind of let me just say this. I get it. I understand. But it just it doesn't sound appealing. I don't know.
It doesn't sound appealing. Nobody wants to smoke a dad bod.
I mean, call it like, I don't know. I feel like there's so many other things they could have gone with that maybe weren't great, but would have been better than dad bod.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm more. Yeah, I agree.
No, go ahead, Coop. What were you gonna say?
But if you ask me, I'm more excited about the Punch release coming out with the being done with Julio Aroa. That's what I'm more excited about. With Punch.
Yeah, me too.
This, it doesn't really excite me. But that packaging they did on. I talked to Justin a lot about that too. So that excites me a lot more. But it's not the worst thing. I mean, I know Abe brought up something else it looked like, but I don't think this was an egregious trade dress thing. So. Either, so I think you can make an argument it looked like something, but nah.
Well, I like the analogy you use as a pinball pin.
I always call that champion size the pinball pin. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a pinball. That's what it reminded me of.
It's very funny. I like that. But no, it's one other thing you guys did mention on the show when you guys were talking about that I said immediately when I got that press release. I was at my desk, and Nicole happened to be in the room. And I read it off to her, and I showed her the photo. And I remember saying to her, I'm like, I just feel like Punch has just become the playground brand for General. Because that's, like, where they do their wackiest stuff. I mean, they get, like, they get, like, the spring roll, they get the bento box, and all that other stuff. Now they get the dad bod with the cans and like, it's almost like that's kind of like, and it's not that it's a bad thing. I mean,
it makes sense to put it under that brand, right? Because like Mr. Punch, it's got that humorous. I mean, if you went and did that with Hoya de Monterrey, no, that wouldn't have worked. Or Macanudo wouldn't have worked.
Yeah.
This CAO maybe it would have worked, but nah, I don't think it fits in with CAO. I think they picked the right brand to do something like that. I don't know. I still don't know if the spring roll fits in with this though. I can't. I haven't been able to put the connection with the spring roll and Punch, but this I can actually maybe see a bit.
What I thought, it's not really the same thing, but a general analogy is the Punch, what they're doing with the Punch brand almost kind of reminds me of like the thought process that kind of went into like Asylum, of like, hey, like we're going to use Asylum as like, something we do like our crazier projects. They don't do that kind of stuff with Asylum, but Asylum, big ring gauge stuff, really long stuff, the April Fool stuff. It's kind of like their fun kind of, different stuff outside of their serious, regular core line stuff. And then they have Asylum. They do all these fun special sizes and shapes or whatever. And I feel like that's kind of become Punch for General. It's like, well, we're gonna do something kind of wild. Like, let's put it under Punch.
Yeah.
And that's like the designated brand.
Yeah, and Justin said it was probably one of the more underappreciated brands of the portfolio. It's all Punch has gotten a lot of CA ratings, some high rate. I mean, Gran Puro hit top 10 a few years ago, and I said to everybody, if you hadn't smoked the Gran Puro that year, it was smoking incredible that year.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever they were producing that year, it was smoking really good. So they've gotten more accolades, I think, with the Punch brand than any of their other brands in general. I think CAO's had a couple in there, I think, but for the most part, those obviously Flathead got them to number 3.
Yeah.
But for the most part, General's had most success, I'd say, with Punch and La Gloria. Have been the ones they've had success with. La Gloria made it this year.
Yeah. So kind of like to my point, like when you see it, don't like write it off. If it seems really wacky, definitely try the cigar.
$7 cigar. $7 cigar. I mean,
you don't have anything to lose.
They're not. It's not. Yeah, exactly.
So yeah,
they've kept Punch affordable too. Yeah, I've always kept that brand affordable.
That's also true. They keep it affordable. It's something different. It's fun.
Yep.
And like you said, some of them are actually pretty damn good, and they've been recognized. So you see it, and you're like, oh wow, what the fuck is that? But you know what? Try it. It's not bad.
Yeah. Now I don't think it makes sense to make a Punch at El Titan de Bronze. I hope they don't do that, right? But like they're doing the biggest there. I could see them doing a Hoyt of Monterey there at some point. But Punch I think has its own place. So I think and CAOs, they've done a couple of weird things with CAO over I was talking about the oil can cigar.
Yeah, you
the one
did
that was in the
mention-
oil.
Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah. So they've done in a couple of other places. They've done some unusual stuff with that. But I think an oil can fit better in CAO than it would have fit in Punch. So I think they didn't do a bad job with that.
The whole car theme, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the whole car theme really became a big... but CAO is a lifestyle brand in a lot of ways. So you could do things like cars, travel.
Yeah.
It makes some sense with that.
Oh, wow. Is he still here? Jay, where are you? Comment so I know you're here.
How was your Oliva?
What happened?
How was your Oliva there, Coop?
I just finished.
We're at
great. It was great.
We're at 30.
Really good cigar.
We're at 30,000.
This is smoking great too.
We're at 30,000.
Really good. Nice.
I
gave it an 89.
Jay put us over.
That's a really good score, Coop.
Jay just put us at 30,000. Wow.
I'd say 89 is fair.
Thank you, Jay.
Thank you so much, Jay.
89.
Sorry, Mitchell. I know you're trying to get your point in, but I have I have to stop you. Jay, thank you so much.
Good job, Jay.
Good job, Jay. You're the man.
There you go. Yeah, there you go, Jay.
We hit 30,000,
This
guys.
guy,
It's official. Although Jay says we're going for 35. Jay says we're going for 35.
Yeah, now we're going for 35.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
I'm looking at big. Yep, I'm seeing the number come in here as well, and a few. David just made a contribution too. So I mean,
did he? Yes.
Everything counts.
Yes, David. Thank you.
Every bit counts in it. Everything counts in this, guys. I mean, it just doesn't. I know some people. Everything counts. Yeah.
Wow.
Big news going in. So yeah, that you have hit the goal. Congratulations. Thank you, Jay. Thanks to everybody. Everybody who made a contribution. Yeah.
Jay said you're welcome. Didn't need the shout out. I know, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot.
I know you didn't.
But it is special, Jay. It is special. We do appreciate it so much. We really do.
Yep. It hasn't updated the final total yet, but I know
You don't see the
that
total.
sometimes takes a little while to get there. My total is still saying 29,180, but that's it sometimes I've noticed it takes a little while sometimes to refresh on me. Just from doing it personally. Yeah.
Yeah, mine has.
It may be my. Okay, yeah, it sometimes does take a little bit.
Wow.
I'll bring it up on my other computer and see.
Anyway,
but yeah, it will show up.
Before that, Jay did comment, I am interested in that champion size with Cameroon wrapper.
Why not? Yeah, I would be too.
Yeah, I'm excited.
And in general, like I said, they got a lot of Cameroon, so they can afford to do a cigar with that. They got good tobacco, general. So we'll see. I mean, how was Matt? How was your punch spring roll?
It wasn't bad. I gotta smoke another one, but it
Did you
wasn't
get-
bad. I enjoyed it.
Did you did you get notes of bok choy and
I'm gonna
cabbage?
be honest with you. I don't know what bok choy tastes like, so I don't think I've ever had bok
Oh,
choy.
bok choy. Oh, you got a bok choy, man. Bok choy is I don't know how to explain it. It's a green leafy.
I know what it
It's
looks
a-
like,
it's
but I
in
don't
the
think
green-
I've ever had it. Is it like cabbage though?
It
Like
is.
what-
Yes.
It's in that.
It's like
yeah, it's
watery,
in
Well,
that
though.
hold on, wait a minute. I got Mitchell over here who's half Chinese. I mean, he definitely knows what bok choy is. I have to
The-
turn
the
to
thing-
him.
The thing with bok choy is, a lot of the times you have like a sauce in it, so it just depends what kind of sauce. But it's just like a very watery, juicy but crispy. It's almost like take like almost like a celery.
I hate
It's just
celery.
like a bigger celery. It's like that watery, crispy, but it's got like a nice earthy flavor to it.
Hmm. Okay.
And what happens is it's got a bulb. It's got a bulb type of stem,
Yeah.
as opposed to like a celery. So the bulb, I
Exactly.
think that moisture really stays in it. It's great in ramen, by the way. Great in a ramen.
Yeah,
I got
great in
this,
soup.
like bok choy. Yep.
Well, maybe we'll order some at Din Tai Fung.
Good call. Good
Maybe
call.
they have it. Maybe they have it.
Mitchell,
I-
Mitchell and I have already been talking about how much food we're going to eat at the fucking trade show. It's kind of sad, but we're also very excited.
Yes.
we had
Very,
a,
very.
I've been like going. I've been going. Can we go to DoorDash? I'm like, get away from it. It's funny when we were down in Miami. I was the guy who wanted to order DoorDash every time. I'm like, I don't want to go out. I'm like, let's just order DoorDash. I'm like,
yeah, but that's just because you're old. You don't want to go out and socialize.
well, because we had a great smoking area was why. So we had
I
a
know.
really good patio.
Well, you
so,
have your
yeah.
own private space. You know what I mean? So of course, I mean that makes sense. But
Yeah.
I
Oh,
remember-
but no, I actually took the guys out to a Hebrew deli.
oh, did
We
you?
went out for Hebrew deli. Yeah. Unbelievable. Yeah. These guys were introduced. Some of these guys had never had some. They basically Abe, who always picks on me what I eat. Everyone ordered what I ordered almost, and everybody loved it. So
Mitchell, we have to add that to the.
Do
the
they have
food- the
Do they
food
have
tour.
tongue?
Ugh.
they did not get tongue because I didn't get tongue. Tongue is I
love
like it in
deli
very
tongue.
small amounts.
Yeah.
I love deli tongue, but I like it in
Shaved.
small amounts on a Yeah, it's shaved. You got to have I like a thin piece layered in with
Yeah.
some brisket and pastrami. Yep. But I don't like an
Yeah.
all tongue sandwich. It doesn't work for me.
It can be a little overwhelming. Yeah. I like it with some mustard.
Yep.
You mean like
Yep.
legit?
Oh
tongue?
yeah, you definitely
Oh yeah, legit tongue.
beef tongue.
Ugh,
Beef's
tongue,
good.
I don't know.
What do you think? What do you think? Some of the things you eat. Well, we won't go there. But some of the things you eat deli meat. What do you think it is? It's not like.
You know what?
like
I
prime
don't
rib
know,
you
and I
get,
want to
man.
leave it that way because sometimes it's mental,
Okay.
and I don't want to know. Just
Yeah.
eat it.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'll eat anything.
I will take you to.
I was gonna say for
We're
me,
actually,
I mostly just eat like turkey and roast beef. I mean, I don't really eat a lot of.
Oh, it's so good.
Coop, we can go get
So
the
good.
mortadella and the head cheese and the tongue.
Yeah, mortadella. Oh, and there's a great place in Boca that has a mortadella in their sandwiches. It's not
Some
Publix, by the way.
Capicol.
It's called Vienna. Yeah,
It's good stuff.
but yep.
Yeah, Mitchell and I on Wednesday night show, or was it after the show? I can't remember.
It was during the show.
Was it during the show? Yeah, we
Yeah.
talked about how all the food we wanted to eat, and I've already made some reservations. And I told Mitchell, and I'm like, "Are you good with these places?" And he's like, "Yeah." I'm like,
Yeah.
"All right, good, because I'm excited."
Yeah.
Oh man, what a night, guys! Jesus, I feel like we accomplished a lot here.
Yep. Very good. Very good night.
I'm getting tired. Anyway, let's wrap this up here. Great show. Thanks for being here. To you guys, as always. Thank you to everyone who stuck it out with us tonight, watched us live. If you're listening to us later on the podcast platforms, we appreciate it. Thank you. And don't forget to like and subscribe to all of our content on our YouTube channel, wherever podcasts can be found. And as always, you can visit smokeandtobacco.com for more news, reviews, and updates from the cigar industry, as well as to find the link for our 2023 CFCF raffle fundraiser. At the top of the page under CFCF charity fundraiser, go down to 2023. It'll bring you right to the rally up page, which is also go.rallyup.com/smokingtobacco2023, and you can donate there. We are off now, and we'll be back in a few weeks for Spare Notes. Catch us on Wednesday on Smoking Tobacco, and we'll be celebrating the end of the CFCF fundraiser. So that'll be our celebration show. Don't miss that. And Coop, who you got on Cigar Coop this week?
Mo O'Malley of Patina Cigars.
Oh, nice.
Yep, I haven't interviewed Mo in about 5 years. So he is the second time on the show, but I haven't had him on in 5 years, and a lot's changed since he was on last time. So he had just launched the company when we had him on. So
Yeah, I would say so. A lot has changed.
Our team really likes his cigars too. So
That's going to be a great show.
Yep. So definitely check that one out. And then we have a jukebox show. I don't know when it's going to air, but we're recording it Monday. So we've had some challenges scheduling wise because a lot of the guys have kids in sports right now this time of the year. So we're doing some adjustment this year so they
It's a
can
busy time, yeah.
take care of their family first. Yeah. So
Go vote on Battle of the Bands for Jukebox, all right, people? Some
Oh,
sad
that's right.
upsets.
yeah.
Sad upsets this week. I'm still distraught.
Oh my goodness! How the hell did you two go down to the Beastie Boys? Is beyond
Dude.
me. There's this backlash, and yeah.
Oh my god.
It is. Yeah.
Shame.
I don't usually like to give away votes, but there's one contest going on right now that's tied. So, but if I don't want to tip it, so definitely your vote will count. It could be some of these have been decided by one vote. And I have ACDC
matters
Black
here.
and Black, which I think has. Yep.
Well, I'm excited to see how that all plays out, too.
I believe it will be Hector's Purple Rain against my ACDC Black and Black in the final, but we'll see. That's how I believe it's going to happen. So we'll see.
The purple one.
You never know.
The purple one.
The purple one. Hector won it with Nirvana for the '90s. So.
Oh, come on, Hector.
And that was a roll. Hector. Well, you know what? So you know
This
what the
bracket's
mistake
harder.
was? McTavish should have never drafted Thriller with the first pick. I had Thriller as potentially if it was around for second or third round one, but no, he should not have drafted Thriller ahead of Purple Rain.
And it's funny because when I
that
talked
was
to
a
Hector
mistake.
about it, he said he was confident with Purple Rain, and he said, but he goes,
Oh, he was totally confident.
He said the only one that worries me against Prince is Michael Jackson. He's like, but I feel like against anything else, I think I'm good. That was his thought process.
Michael got bounced a couple years ago pretty early, which is why I was like, I didn't think he was going to do well. I think there's a backlash on him. So, because again, mostly cigar people are voting on this. So,
Yeah.
you kind of have to look at that. And, yeah. So U2 has never, ever done well. And they get bounced in the first or second round every year. So, but I was still surprised the Beast, because U2 won its first round matchup so easy. I figured it would hold off the Beastie Boys, and no, the Beastie Boys advanced to the Elite Eight. And ZZ Top, go figure that.
ZZ Top, dude,
just the Clash.
ZZ Top. I love ZZ Top.
We have a lot of people voting in the Texas Panhandle and Central area, and they're big.
And that's the thing.
So I think that's what happened.
As a Canadian, I see an international market a lot more than an American market, and a lot of these upsets internationally would never happen. U2 would never lose to the Beastie Boys internationally ever. It wouldn't even be the closest thing.
Mitchell has a point.
The Clash, you would laugh if someone put the Clash up against ZZ Top internationally. But you're right. It is the audience, and it is an American market. But yeah, seeing these things like from an international point of view, and as a musician as well, I love ZZ Top. I'm not gonna say they haven't put out amazing, blues rock music, but compared to the Clash,
video still, the Clash. I had the Clash going to the Final Four when I did.
So did I.
I thought the Clash would be in the Final Four. Out of
Revolutionary
John's bracket.
punk album.
It was Revolutionary. They have a popular thing, I thought the Clash would knock Michael Jackson out in the Elite Eight. I thought that's what Jackson would get, and I thought the Clash would beat Michael Jackson. So it didn't work. So we'll see what happens with that.
But go vote. Go vote, people.
Go vote.
Go vote.
Twitter.
Go vote. And if you retweet it, you're eligible for the prize pool. So, most people are. Sorry, Mitch, you're not eligible, but
it's all good.
we appreciate your support. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, guys, we're going to wrap up the show there. Thanks for being with us tonight. I'm not going to do the ending roll call again. I already did it, so we'll catch you
good night,
next
everyone.
time.
All right.
Take care, everybody.
Take care.